So in previous videos, we discussed strings, booleans, and numbers. Now let's discuss what we can do with those things. So in today's video, we're going to talk about operators. And in particular, we're going to talk about arithmetic operators. Things such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo, I can never spell that right, also known as remainder, and increment and decrement. All right, so let's start off by creating some integers. So we're going to do a num1. I'm going to set that to 4, and then we're going to do int num2, and we're going to set that to 6. Now thus far we haven't done anything different. I'll run my code and everything should be fine. Obviously, again, there's little messages down here saying we haven't used our variables yet, but that is about to change. So I'm going to create a var. Now var is just a container. Basically it's the same thing as saying int or double, but it's not specified. So in here I'm going to say add, so it's going to equal num1 plus num2. Now when I print the value of add, what's going to happen is it's going to come down here, it's going to check num1, it's going to say it's the value of 4, plug it in right there, check num2 is the value of 6, and add the 2 and store it in this container. So then when I call print add, it'll give us the result of 4 plus 6, which is 10. So that's add. Now if I come down here and I create a var called sub, and I take num2 minus num1, and I come back, call my print for sub, again it's going to call this function. I'll hit a run, so while I've run I can explain it. Num2 is 6 minus num1, which is 4, and then it subs it and gives me what the value is, which is 2. Okay, so as you can imagine, I'm going to do this, and if I do num1 multiplied by num2, we get more or less the same process. So I'll come over here, always remember your semicolons, run that, and I get that. So I do this, num2 divided by num1, and then print divide and run. So again, in the multiply example, we had num1, which is number 4, num2, which is number 6, and we multiplied them, stored them in here, and we called it again, and there we go, 24, and this is 1.5. Now at any point in time, we can use these variables or the values in them and work off of those. So let's say I'm going to create a var called something, and I'm going to say I want to take whatever the value of add is and add it to the value of sub. And then if I print something, I'll get the value of add, which is num1, num2, plus what it is subtracted. And it should run my code and give me the result here, which is 12. All right, so the next thing we want to do, scroll up a little bit, let me space it out so we can have some, actually, you know what I'm going to do, just so we can have more space, I'm going to delete all the empty space there for a second. Here we go, divide, and all right, so the next thing I want to do is var mod, let's call it remainder, equals num2, and this is the sign for modulo, it's the percentage sign. So basically this is one of those rare things you're going to use, but if you can kind of master it, you're going to be the cool guy in the office. Is basically what it does is it divides the number. So we know that 4 will go into 6 one time. And what's left after that is 2. So that's what this will spit out for you, will be 2. So if I run this, it's going to look at num2, which is 6, divide it by num1, which is 4, say that it goes in there once, and then the remainder is 2. So you get a nice remainder from that. And that's useful occasionally in some programming scenarios. But you barely ever use it really. Okay, I think more like games and things like that, you would use it for game development. So the last thing I kind of want to show you is increment and decrement. These are very useful and you'll see them used often. So basically, if you just want to add 1 to a number, the longhand of doing it is, actually I should show you that right here, var long-handed increment would be, you would have to call the number, and then you would have to say plus 1. And so if I come here and I print long-handed increment, and I come over here, I do run, and so num1 is equal to 4 plus 1 equals 5. But this is a lot of writing, and we don't like a lot of writing. So I'm going to comment that out. And basically what I did was I held my control key and my /. That's what that did to comment it out. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call num1, and I'm going to follow it by 2 plus signs. And so then down here, when I call num1, it will automatically increment it, and I should get the same value of 5 when I run my code. Okay, so that didn't change anything. So it's done, it's 5. And the same thing for decrement. So if I decrement it, the long way would be num1 minus 1, and then if I print that, it would decrement, and I come over here, and if I run it, this should be different because num1 has a different value now. It's back to 4 because it went down. But again, if I wanted to do something easier, what I can do is just do num1 minus minus. And then here I would call num1. And if I run it, of course, I should get 4 again, because here it incremented it by 1 to 5, and then here it decremented it. If I want to get a different number, what I would do is num1 minus minus again, and if I run it again, now I should get 3. Okay, so here it was num1 plus plus, so I went from 4 to 5, then here it went back to 4, and then here it went back to down to 3, and it gave me that. All right, so this was a little bit longer of a video, but we did go over a lot of stuff here. So now we're getting into some good stuff, some basics and fundamentals of arithmetic and how to use these things. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you in another video.